Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, President Bola Tinubu convenes his inaugural Council of State meeting. Recent and bad governance protests, security and other national issues dominate discussions at the gathering. Judicial workers' salaries is raised by 300% as President Bola Tinubu signs the Judicial Office Holders' Salaries and Allowances Amendment Bill into law. And with just over a month to the 2024 governorship election in Edo State, the All Progressives Congress flags off its campaign in the state capital.
In our business news, Nigeria's finance minister leads strategic meeting on NNPC Limited's crude sale in Naira.
On sports, Olympic flag arrives under bright skies in Los Angeles as officials now have only 4 years to organize the Summer Games.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, flood claims 3 lives, destroys over 1,000 houses across 3 local government areas in Bauchi State.
And in international news from London, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia has brought war to others and now it is coming home.
The National Council of State has passed a vote of confidence on President Bola Tinubu for what it describes as the achievements made in the last 1 year. The council passed the vote during its first meeting under the administration of President Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lasisi, reports.
It's the first National Council of State meeting of this administration. In attendance are governors, the President of the Senate, some ministers, and former Chief Justices of Nigeria, as well as presidential aides. Former President Muhammadu Buhari and Goodluck Jonathan were physically present, while retired Generals Abubakar Abdulsalam and Yakub Gowon joined the meeting virtually. President Bola Tinubu arrives to preside over the meeting. Over 5 hours later, a delegation arrives to outline the highlights of the meeting. As expected, the recent hardship protests were considered following a report by the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, on the security situation in the country and the protest.
The council thanked Nigerians at large for resisting any unconstitutional move to change government. If anybody is not satisfied with the government, any current administration, there's always an election coming. So you wait for election and cast your vote the way you deem fit.
Aside from Mr. Dele Alake, 6 other ministers made presentation to the council on the progress made in each sector of the economy, with emphasis on economic diversification. According to the Minister of Finance, the council commended the economic drive of the current administration, which according to him is yielding positive results.
In broad terms, the economy is growing. The balance of payments, in particular, the trade balance and the current account balance, are in surplus. The exchange rate is stabilizing. And inflation, though high, uncomfortably high, for the liking of Mr. President and his team, it is slowing and it is set to fall.
The Kwara State Governor said the council commended the president after listening to the presentations by the ministers.
The high note of the meeting was a unanimous passage of a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Members, especially those of the Nigerian Governors Forum, were satisfied with the presentation by the members of the Federal Executive Council.
Following this meeting, the governors went into another meeting with the president, this time a closed-door meeting where they say they had a fruitful discussion. which made them realize that they are on the same page. They also had a high point in that meeting when another vote of confidence was given to Mr. President. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has signed the Judicial Office Holders' Salaries and Allowances Amendment Bill into law. The special advisor to the President on Senate matters, Senator Bashir Lado, disclosed this in a statement in Abuja. According to Mr. Lado, this is a manifestation of President Tinubu's unwavering commitment to the welfare of Nigeria's workforce and judicial office holders. He urged judicial office holders in the country to redouble their efforts in ensuring that justice is served and speedily too, in the light of the action of the President, which is aimed at enhancing their overall welfare and well-being. Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, has applauded President Bola Tinubu for assenting to the Judicial Office Holders' Salaries and Allowances Bill 2024. In a statement, he says, "By this historical assent, the yearnings of judicial officers across the country for better conditions of service has now been met." The statement adds that judicial officers in Nigeria have been on the same salary for almost 2 decades. The statement further adds that President Tinubu has consistently demonstrated his commitment to the sustainable reform of the administration of justice, which is an important component of judicial reforms. The AGF equally appreciates the 10th National Assembly for their concern over the plight of the judiciary and judicial officers in Nigeria, as demonstrated by their speedy passage of the bill. The President is scheduled to depart for Malabo in Equatorial Guinea on Wednesday, August the 14th, on a 3-day official visit to honor the invitation of President Teodoro Obiang Nguema Ngbasogo. As contained in the statement of the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to the President, Ajuri Ngalale, President Bola Tinubu will meet with the Equatorial Guinean President at the Presidential Villa on arrival, where meetings will be held between the two leaders and agreements, particularly on oil and gas and security, signed. The President is to be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, and other members of his cabinet who will be involved in the signing of agreements and review of opportunities to improve bilateral relations. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, is charging agencies and parastatals under his ministry to give priority to the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu. He gave the charge while signing performance bonds with heads of the agencies at the ministry's ministerial retreat in Abuja. Our correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, reports.
For the restoration of Nigeria's Information Service Center.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation is leading heads of agencies under the ministry at this ministerial retreat, the first since the minister assumed office. Some of the agencies in attendance include the National Orientation Agency, the Voice of Nigeria, the National Broadcasting Commission, the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, and the Nigerian Television Authority, amongst others.
It is what you do that will ensure that all of us stay on our jobs here.
The retreat is part of efforts to ensure that the mandate of the ministry is fully understood in the delivery chain of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu.
Our gathering here is a testament to our collective resolve to enhance the role of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in the broader context of national development. The renewed hope agenda is a beacon of progress and transformation, and it is incumbent on us to ensure that we effectively communicate its objectives and achievements to the Nigerian people.
The renewed hope agenda also formed the fulcrum of the address by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, as he charges the agencies under the ministry to give priority to the deliverables of the ministry under the President's program.
Since the advent of the administration of President Bola Tinubu, there has been a structured agenda to achieve a renewed hope initiative with all ministries, departments, and agencies involved, and with a tracking system to ensure full compliance. This tracking system is managed by the Central Resource Delivery and Coordinating Unit in the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. All of you here are responsible for delivering our results to this office, either as heads or as delivery officers.
One after the other, the heads of agencies signed the performance bond with the minister, a significant step to committing to deliver on the renewed hope agenda. From Abuja, Victoria Long John for Channels Television News.
To politics, and the All Progressives Congress today got a boost in its membership as it received some top politicians in Edo South Senatorial District, including a former House of Representatives member, Omosade Igbinedion, into its fold. The DCMPs from the People's Democratic Party were received during the mega rally for Edo South held in Benin City, the Edo State capital, where APC chieftains in the state reeled out the benefits Edo people stand to enjoy if the party is given their vote.
The grounds of the Ekenwa campus, University of Benin in Benin City, the Edo State capital, fill up in no time with the All Progressives Congress party members and supporters who have gathered for the party's Edo South mega rally ahead of the September 21 governorship election. Among the dignitaries present is the reinstated Deputy Governor of the state, Philip Shaibu. Leaders of the party are optimistic the party has the best offer of service for Edo people if voted into office.
Go to Edo Central Senatorial District, you will see what Senator Mondo Pebolo has done in less than 1 year. Even if you look behind you, look at the buses. Look at the buses behind you that will give Edo people free ride. This is somebody who is a senator for less than 1 year. Go there and see the roads that he has built. Go there and see the schools that he has built. Go and see the empowerment he has done there. You will know that that man is a performer.
By the grace of God, the wickedness we have seen in the past 8 years is about to come to an end. His Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Philip Shaibu, captured it when he said, Opone. It has come to an end.
The defection of some top politicians in the state into the APC is cause for celebration.
I hereby receive our sister, our Duchess, Honorable, a performing one, Omosade Igbinedion, into our fold with the glory of God.
A national leader of the party, Senator Adam Soshomole, who considers the day a great one, gives reasons he's confident Edo is better off with the party's candidates.
Those who have been brutalized, those whose businesses have been closed, those whose hotels were demolished, those who were given irresponsible tax regime, all of those will be revised by Governor Monday Upaolo Akpako Miza.
The governorship and deputy governorship candidates also share some of their vision.
Let me tell you, the good people of Edo South, I want to beg, and I want to tell you that this election is about our future. And by the grace of God, on the 21st of September, APC, under the leadership of distinguished Senator Mondo Pebolo, will be the next governor of Edo State. My people, our governor. We are going to show them how to develop Edo State. By the time we are 100 days in office, there will be something to show.
The launch of a free bus ride service closes the Edo South Mega Rally, the first in the set of rallies scheduled for the week. Edo Central and North are next on the list.
In part two, after the break, Minister of Health Professor Mohammed Ali Fateh highlights steps taken by the federal government to improve healthcare delivery in Nigeria. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the News at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Bola Tinubu convenes his inaugural Council of State meeting. Recent and bad governance protests, security, and other national issues dominate discussions at the gathering. Judicial workers' salaries is raised by 300% as President Bola Tinubu signs the Judicial Office Holders' Salaries and Allowances Amendment Bill into law. With just over a month to the 2024 governorship election in Edo State, the All Progressives Congress flags off its campaign in the state capital. And Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia has brought war to others, and now it is coming home. Still talking politics, barely 24 hours after being sacked by the State High Court, the former Caretaker Committee Chairman of the Rivers APC, Mr. Tony Okocha, is canvassing support for President Bola Tinubu. Mr. Okocha led a mega rally of the Renewed Hope family from across the 23 local government areas of the state. The crowd marched from the Port Harcourt Polo Club along Aba Road down to the Port Harcourt Club in Old GRA. While addressing the people, Mr. Okocha accused Governor Siminalayi Fubara of sponsoring the End Bad Governance protest in Rivers.
The man who funded, the man who sponsored, the man who held midnight meetings with the youth, I refuse to call them hoodlums, is the person, the only person that benefited from the 10 days of inactivity in Nigeria, particularly in Rivers State. Did you see that? Yes, sir. On the first day that youth gathered, the governor had the presence of mind to take the rostrum to tell the youth that he will pass their message to Mr. President, assuming and absorbing himself from the rubbish in issue. And to also tell you, I'm sure you all remember, you all saw him. I'm not the one now saying it. You saw when the governor said that he will give them something for pure water and what? This is the Tinubu's family in Rivers State. The Tinubu's family in Rivers State is under the leadership of His Excellency Esewonye Sowike, CON, GSSRS, the Right and Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. You can see what I'm wearing. What is this? 002. What does it mean to you? There is 001. We represent 001. He's very much aware that his family in Rivers State, as peaceful as we are, that will be out here today to show support, to raise support for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Ali Pate, has been speaking on some of the new reforms in the health sector. Professor Pate explains that the new policy measures will certainly enhance the welfare package of health workers and healthcare delivery in Nigeria. He was a guest on our political program, Politics Today.
It's called Health Workforce Policy of Migration. It's a policy of managed migration. It has a forward, the background, the various chapters, all that I've laid out for you, including those who have been consulted in development of this policy up to its approval. On the ministry's website, we're streamlining because it's a large document, so it is easily downloadable, but it's available document and has gone through iterations of consultations with key actors, with key professional bodies, with health workers from all across the country, as well as other ministries. And it's, on one hand, focuses on health, but it's connected to wider effort of the Nigerian government to deal with the problem of migration, how we harness this potential as a country that has a lot of youth, some of whom are in school, are learning, and they have high aspirations. We think we're the country of the future. How do we harness this demographic potential? I think you'll find that almost 17,000 have been trained over the last 5 years. More than half of them have left. So the younger doctors tend to be trained and they leave because there's demand elsewhere. They want to be better trained and they see the challenges that we face as a country. So this policy is to try to address that so that we retain, provide the services the Nigerians need, while in a way making it easier for those who have gone to be able to come back. And over time, for our health system to be one that in a way provides less push for them to leave, despite the pool that they have from the more advanced countries.
So let's head to the nation's capital, where Gloria Mizoke is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria. Over to you.
Thank you, Ayo. We begin with some sad news from Bauchi State, where 3 lives have been lost and over 1,000 houses destroyed by flooding across 3 local government areas. Officials from the Bauchi State Emergency Management Agency released these figures as they commenced the assessment of the extent of the damage caused by the recent floods. Meanwhile, the state government has provided emergency relief for the victims. Our correspondent, Hajara Aliyu, reports.
In recent days, heavy rainfall has left communities in Bauchi State overwhelmed. Shira, Giade and Katagum local government areas have been the worst hit. Houses and farmlands have been submerged and commuters are struggling to navigate roads that have been cut off. The state government has sent a delegation led by the secretary to the state government to assess the situation in the affected areas. In Giade, over 300,000 houses have been affected and the Giade-Azere road has been cut off. In Shira, lives have been lost with more than 400,000 houses affected. Flooding is also threatening the Shira-Azere road and the extent of farmland destruction is yet to be determined, according to officials of the Bauchi State Emergency Management Agency. Many communities in Katagum have been displaced, with an estimated 600,000 houses destroyed. The state government is providing relief to the victims.
In the interim, His Excellency has sent his token contribution towards giving succor to those whose houses have been destroyed by the rain. As we said in the palace of the Sarkin Giade, the government has sent large consignments of rice and maize and sorghum, blankets and mats, and token amount of money to be distributed.
The Bauchi State Government team, during their visits to the district head of Giade, received a promise from him for the equitable distribution of the relief materials.
We will ensure that the relief materials get to those affected by the disaster.
Meanwhile, work is in progress along the Kano-Maiduguri highway, which was cut off a few days ago by flood. Hajara Aliyu, Channels Television News.
A Federal Capital Territory High Court, presided over by Justice Silvanus Origi, has extended the order restricting participants in the bad governance protest against the federal government to the Moshood Abiola National Stadium in Abuja. Justice Origi extended the order following an application argued by Dr. James Onoja on behalf of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. After proceeding, all the 11 defendants were absent in court and were not represented by any legal practitioner, but the FCT minister, through his lawyer, drew the attention of the judge to a statement issued by one Damilari Adinola, where she threatened that the nationwide protests may be extended beyond the initial 10 days. The council argued that since they were not in court and no one knows their next plan of action, it would be appropriate to extend the order to ensure that the peace of the FCT is not unjustly disrupted. In a brief ruling, the judge granted the request and affirmed that the order of July 31, 2024 remains valid and in force. The judge subsequently fixed August 22, 2024 for hearing of the motion on notice. The Kaduna state government has removed the dusk to dawn curfew it imposed on Kaduna and Zaria metropolitan cities following the outbreak of violence from the recent nationwide End Bad Governance protest. The curfew was relaxed this morning after an extensive review of the security situation in the two cities and the environment by the Kaduna State Security Council under the leadership of Governor Oba Sani. In a statement, the Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Aruwan, announced that a 6 p.m. till 8 a.m. curfew has been removed completely. Given the development, the statement said law-abiding citizens are free to move and engage in legitimate activities in Kaduna and Zaria towns and the environs with no restrictions. The Security Council also warned that processions or gatherings must be verified with the relevant agencies to avoid any breakdown of law and order and for the overall security of the general public. Well, still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's finance minister leads strategic meetings on NNPC Limited's crude sale in Naira. That's in business news. Let's join us again. Watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. The organized labor in Nasarawa State has asked Governor Abdullahi Sule to wait for the template from the federal government before the payment of the new minimum wage to workers in the state. The governor had expressed willingness to pay the 70,000 naira minimum wage with the arrears of 2 months. The unionists made their position known in a meeting with the governor at the government house in Lafia, the state capital. Our correspondent Halima Gayam reports.
Members of the Nasarawa State Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress are in the government house for this meeting convened by Governor Abdullahi Sule.
I'm sorry, let me...
Top government officials are present, including the head of civil service, Mrs. Abigail Waya, who highlights the achievements recorded so far.
And we all know that our salaries are promptly paid. We know that pensions are promptly paid, which was not the case before they came. And we've had some years of gratuity being paid off. That is apart from the quarterly payments.
Issues of outstanding promotions payment and the national new minimum wage are on the table for discussion. Governor Sule had earlier promised to pay the national new minimum wage. However, organized labor prefers that he pays their promotion allowances rather than the new minimum wage. They make a suggestion to the governor.
We want our promotion implemented. 2, the template, the table for the approval His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu has sent into law is still being processed.
The governor restates the stance of the organized labor to ensure that they are on the same page with him.
I am willing to pay now, but you are the ones now asking that we should not pay now until the template is out, then we will come back to the drawing table. We're on the same page. I believe the NLC chairman has spoken the minds of all the workers. So what we are going to do, I'm going to make life better for you. Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Governor Sule has agreed to pay the outstanding promotions from July this year with a pledge to set up a committee for the implementation of the national new minimum wage. Halima Agayem, Channels Television News.
The former Catholic Archbishop of Abuja, John Cardinal Onayekon, is asking politicians to give young people a chance to lead the change they desire. He stated this at the National Christian Peace Summit organized to mark the International Youth Day in Abuja.
A representation of interfaith clerics are attending this Christian Youth Summit.
The gathering is against the backdrop of the 2024 International Youth Day commemoration, and the discussions here focus on the role of young people in national peace and development.
If you understand what is happening all over the country, there's a movement, there's protest, there's so many things, because people are not happy. And the only people who can move the country well are Christians through Muslim youths who can stand and say, we want it this way and not that way.
All we want is peace in our country, because without peace, there will be no development. I therefore call on our youth to give peace a chance in Nigeria.
To enable young people drive the process of peace building in Nigeria, the keynote speaker emphasizes the importance of quality education for youths.
Our young people must be equipped with the skills and with a mindset to innovate. This requires a holistic approach to the education that goes beyond traditional academic learning. We need policies that support youth entrepreneurship.
However, the former Catholic Archbishop of Abuja is asking politicians to give young people a chance to lead the change they desire.
The young people want to participate, to contribute, and they're full of energy to act for peace and development of the nation. They have not been given adequate attention, sufficient space, encouragement to come out on their own and do things the right way.
In Gombe State, a former federal lawmaker calls for an intergenerational collaboration between the young and the old to expedite the much-needed development in Nigeria.
We all have a role to play. The older generation, the new generation, and those to come. We must create a platform where that dialogue takes place, so that we're able to have a smooth transition.
According to the National Bureau of Statistics, young people between the ages 15 and 35 constitute 51.6% of Nigeria's over 200 million population. And the conversations so far show that this segment of the society cannot be ignored.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. For more on the news at 10, it's back to you, Ayo, in Lagos.
Thank you so much, Gloria. A huge portion of the Nigerian population suffers from corneal scarring, rendering people blind as a result of trauma due to the use of harmful substances in the eye and others. On the occasion of the World Organ Donation Day, the Eye Bank for Restoring Sight in Nigeria is raising awareness on corneal donation to restore sight. Our correspondent, Mary Alali Yusuf, reports.
There should be joy in knowing that a donated organ is giving life or sight to the recipient, but experts in Nigeria know the challenges only too well. The former chairman of the Board of Governors of the Eye Bank for Restoring Sight in Nigeria, Dr. Bade Ogundipe, talks about some of them.
At the moment, we've only had a few people donating cornea to us in Nigeria. Of all the cornea transplants we've done in this country, and I'm sure we've done over 200 in this country, all of them, except for those 4 corneas, were imported. Valuable viability opportunities will be lost if we don't do our surgeries within a very short time. So the best way to get that is to have our own functional eye bank.
The president of the Transplant Association of Nigeria, Dr. Jacob Awobusui, draws from religious, legal, and other points of view to show how ethical organ donation is.
All the ethical principles are not violated by organ donation and transplantation. So we are very much within the corner of ethically acceptable practice, which has religious backing, which has legal backing, and philosophically, we know that this is right.
Corneal blindness is caused by damage to the foremost part of the eye, which is a transparent sheath through which one sees. Mr. Lekon Alabi is a corneal transplant beneficiary.
My visa is for 3 months. So that was why I came back to Nigeria. And I made the inquiry. And somebody said, corneal transplant, you can do it in Nigeria.
The wristband advocacy campaign is launched with a solemn declaration by the wearers that they are now corneal donors. According to experts, one healthy cornea can be used for 3 or 4 people. Scientists are currently producing artificial corneas, but these are still at experimental levels. The only hope for scarring for now are corneas harvested at the donor's demise. Mary Alale Yusuf, Channels Television News.
One of Nigeria's non-interest financial institutions, Jais Bank, has laid the foundation for a permanent branch office in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. The foundation laying coincided with the birthday of a major stakeholder in the bank, Alhaji Mohammed Indimi, who is a non-executive director at the bank. The new permanent site is located along Kano Road in Maiduguri.
One of Nigeria's foremost non-interest bank, Jais Bank PLC, is taking steps to increase its footprint in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. It's the foundation laying ceremony for the permanent branch office of the bank.
This construction bless the project and make it beneficial to humanity.
The bank is hoping to increase the capacity to boost economic development, enhance trade and commerce, create wealth and economic sustainability in the area.
In terms of financial performance, we are doing very, very well. We have new set of managing directors, new executive directors, management. So they're taking the bank to higher and higher level. In terms of contribution to the economy, if you see our balance sheet, if you see our annual statement, which is available for the public, the top sectors that we invest, number 1 is agriculture, followed by manufacturing, and third, general commerce. So you can see that we are a bank, we are a real sector bank that really focuses on financing the real sector.
The ceremony coincides with the birthday of a non-executive director of the bank, Mr. Mohammed Indimi, who explains his decision to continue to invest in the bank.
I'm trying to see that I left a good legacy for my people here. And one of the legacy is to see growing of this bank, because we travel all over before the bank was born. And I'm ready to spend anything to see this bank survive.
When completed, the bank is hoping that the facility will provide support for the state to re-emerge from the impact of the Boko Haram insurgency.
I believe it will be beneficial to the people of Borno because we are going to support the community immensely. Anybody who is a business person can come and collect, fund based on profit sharing, profit and loss sharing. Because in the conventional bank, even if you lose or come after, you must pay. In Islamic banking, if you fail, you fail together. If you win together.
The bank believes that Borno remains strategic to its success, and it plans to harness the potential for a sustainable economic recovery in Nigeria's northeast region.
Zenith Bank PLC has reassured its shareholders that the bank's ongoing combined offering is poised to drive its financial performance exponentially and increase shareholders' returns. The bank is offering 5,232,748,964 new ordinary shares by way of a rights issue at 36 naira per share.
Zenith Bank PLC is raising 290 billion naira fresh capital through rights issues and public offer, and that has brought the bank executives and its key partners together at this event held at the Nigerian Exchange.
Thank you very much.
The bank is offering approximately 5.23 billion units of shares of 50 kobo each at 36 naira per share through a rights issue of 1 new share for every 6 held. It is also offering 2.77 billion ordinary shares of 50 kobo each at 36 naira 50 kobo per share to the public through the public offer.
This remarkable growth trajectory not only highlights the bank's effective management and operational efficiency, but but also its ability to deliver sustained value to shareholders and stakeholders alike.
For Zenith and the history, I think is very closely correlated to NGX, to the exchange, right from day one. And we really look forward to the opportunity of this offer, deepening those ties and taking that relationship and the capital market as a whole to the very next level.
The proof is in the pudding, they say, and here is a sneak peek into some of the key metrics. The bank's Tier 1 capital was 1.9 trillion naira. The shareholders' fund stood at 2.3 trillion naira, the highest in the industry. The bank recorded a market capitalization of 1.3 trillion naira, also the highest.
Our PBT stood at 796 billion, also the highest in the Nigerian banking industry. That actually made us the most profitable bank in Nigeria. This one I'm sure you guys will like. We paid a dividend of 4 naira per share, which is the biggest, which is the highest. Dividend of 4 naira per share, which is the highest paid by any bank in Nigeria.
Zenith Bank PLC is seeking to break new grounds with a significant portion of the funds expected to be allocated to expanding its footprints in Africa and other regions.
The proceeds we are going to receive from this offer, we are going to use it, 35% of it is going to be for branch expansion. We're going to go into most of the African countries where we do not have presence, as well as other parts of the world. So we're going to apply 35% of the resources for strategic expansion.
The bank says it has positioned its business for sustainable long-term growth and has continuously expanded its operation both within and beyond.
More business news with Will Ibo. Will.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Ayotunde. And Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, has called a high-level meeting to implement President Bola Tinubu's order for the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, to sell crude oil to local refineries in Naira. The meeting, which includes key figures such as Petroleum Minister, the CEO of the NNPCL, and FIRS Chairman, focused on overcoming long-standing challenges in the petroleum sector and enhancing local refinery capabilities. According to the Ministry of Finance, this initiative is set to empower local refineries and stimulate growth. And the telecom sector in Nigeria is now in an intensive care unit, gasping for breath. This was the thrust at the Hybrid Telecom Investments Forum organized by the Financial Derivatives Company earlier today in Lagos. The CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismarck Rwani, who was a keynote speaker, believes that there's an urgent need to rescue the sector from collapse.
What came out clearly is that the sector is actually bleeding. And you can see from $8 billion of revenues in 2020, it has dropped to about $3 billion now. So the revenues of this industry is a third of what it used to be, while their costs have increased. Like it was clearly put, this industry is in ICU, intensive care unit. Something needs to be done. What needs to be done? New investment. New investment will not come except the pricing formula is changed. That is what has happened. But it's quite clear that in the environment in which we are, that it's going to be very difficult. But like they said, it is during war that generals are made.
And it's another red day at the NGX as Boa Cement leads losses for a second consecutive day. In it, John Mekwa has the details.
Thank you so much, Will. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Unfortunately, it's another red day today, and it's still Boa Cement. Further profit taking is still going on Boa Cement today. So while it opened at 114 naira 30 kobo, it closed at 109 naira 80 kobo. That's 4 naira 50 kobo shaved off the share price. investors on Boa Cement are really determined to take some profit at this time. Well, contributing to the redness in the market are the Fugas. Of course, those are the major banking stocks. And so we see FBN Holdings losing 3.93%. And of course, you want to ask, is this connected to the issues around, the court issues going on around FBNH at this time? UBA is also down. GTCO isn't changed. Accessco, Zenith Bank, and we know that most of them, they just did as Zenith Bank. They just did the facts behind the offering. So we have a lot of attention there, but it seems investors are balancing that out by taking profit. At the close of trade today, we see more than 290 billion naira shaved off the market, and then the market closed in the red, 0.5%, 97,390.01. Market cap looking really slim, around the 55 trillion naira. So once again, the second trading day of the week is still the bear.
Thank you, Ini. Let's check in now on other major equities and get a quick snapshot.
Now to experience it. You first. First Bank.
Many thanks, Will. Here's Simon Pusey with our international news and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia has brought war to others and now it is coming home. He says the offensive operations in Russia's Kursk region can help bring peace closer by putting pressure on Russia's Vladimir Putin. Speaking in his evening address, Mr. Zelensky said Russia must be forced into peace if Mr. Putin wants to continue waging war so badly. Here a video taken by a Ukrainian soldier saying the city of Sudza is now under their control. The Ukrainian military says its troops now hold 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory in the ongoing assault. Meanwhile, the Russian Defense Ministry released footage of what it said was additional military hardware for the Kursk region. Mr. Putin accused Ukraine of committing crimes against Russian people and said Kyiv would receive what he called a worthy response. Meanwhile, US Republican Senator Lindsey Graham praised the border operation and urged the Biden administration to provide Ukraine with the weapons it needs.
What I think about Kursk, bold, brilliant, beautiful. Keep it up. Putin started this, kick his ass. Bottom line is to the administration, I appreciate your support. Let these people fight. Give them weapons they need to win a war they can't afford to lose.
The UK Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has urged Iran to refrain from attacking Israel during a phone call with Iran's new president. These photos show Sir Keir speaking on the phone to Masoud Pezeshkian, where he said there was a serious risk of miscalculation and now was the time for calm and careful consideration. It is the first call between a UK Prime Minister and an Iranian president since March 2021. News of the 30-minute discussion came as the UK issued a joint statement with the US, France, Italy and Germany, urging Iran to end its threats of an attack on Israel. Elon Musk's much-anticipated discussion with Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump on the billionaire's platform X was marred by technical issues.
Say what you want. This was a coup.
The conversation, in which Mr. Musk asked friendly questions on subjects such as immigration and inflation, began more than 40 minutes late as many users struggled to gain access. The event was billed as an interview, but Mr. Trump made a series of unsubstantiated claims that went without challenge. Mr. Musk repeated his endorsement of Trump, who faces a resurgent new Democratic candidate, Vice President Kamala Harris, in November's election. A new evacuation alert for the Greek seaside town of Nea Makri has been ordered on Tuesday as fierce wildfires continue to affect the suburbs of Athens. One person has died, with a body believed to be a woman found inside a shop in northern Athens. Thousands of people have been evacuated after firefighters warned that homes, businesses and schools were under threat. The huge smoke cloud that lingered over Athens cleared as Tuesday dawned, although the air is still hazy. Helicopters were circling the skies after being grounded overnight for safety reasons. A pilot who died after they crashed a stolen helicopter into a hotel in Australia had attended a party with staff members the night before. That's according to their employer. The helicopter belonged to Queensland-based helicopter tour agency Nautilus Aviation, who said the employee had been celebrating at a private send-off with colleagues hours before the crash. Nautilus added that the individual was licensed to fly helicopters in New Zealand but had never flown in Australia. The pilot was killed in the accident, while 2 hotel guests were taken to hospital in a stable condition. Taiwan has welcomed its returning Olympic athletes in a grand ceremony with 3 fighter jets escorting the plane carrying them. The jets guided the last batch of athletes to return to the island. Taiwan won 7 medals, including 2 golds, in its best performance since participating in the Games. And renowned British street artist Banksy has revealed his 9th recent animal-themed artwork in London. A gorilla lifting a sheet to release a seal and birds appeared on the outside white shutters of the London Zoo. A small crowd gathered to take photographs of the graffiti. Theories have swirled on social media as to the meaning of the works by an artist who has highlighted themes such as war and climate change in his previous work. Some speculated they could be related to the riots and racist attacks that have swept the country in the past few weeks. Others to the idea that humanity is seeding its own downfall. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Simon, and welcome to Sports News. The Olympic flag has arrived under bright skies in Los Angeles, where officials now have only 4 years to organize the Games, capable of rivaling the widely praised Paris edition in a notoriously traffic-clogged metropolis. The mayor of LA, Karen Bass, landed in a plane emblazoned with palm trees and the logo LA 2028 and crossed the tarmac holding the 5-ringed banner in company of several U.S. athletes. In Botswana, the country gave a rapturous welcome to 200 meters Olympic gold medalist Letsil Tebogo earlier today as the sprinter returned home with the Southern African country's first ever Olympic gold medal. Families with children, elderly people and young supporters waved Botswana's sky blue, white and black national flag as the Olympic team landed back in the capital, Gaborone. Now, hundreds of supporters had gathered at the small airports, benefiting from an impromptu half-day holiday declared by President Mokgweetsi Masisi to celebrate Tobago's success. And that sports is back to you, Ajit, today.
Thank you, Kelly. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu today convened his inaugural Council of State meeting as recent end-bad governance protests, security and other national issues dominated discussions at the gathering. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balogun from all of us here. It's good night and please stay safe.